Good morning. I got one response. There you go. Not many of you went to Catholic school. So we wanted to talk this morning about kind of a new paradigm for how we should be thinking about what local means, what social means, what mobile means in this world. Are we up? Can we get our... It'll all make sense if the pictures come up. My desktop isn't set right. Oh, it was. Let's go back. How's that? There we are. Thank you. Thank you very much. So about 5 years ago, things started really getting interesting in digital for consumers, right? The promise of what the reward would be started to emerge. And you saw really exciting new things happening, right? That was a little past the point that operators like Facebook and YouTube were really starting to take off and get their stride. And this became a valuable thing for marketers too, but for consumers first, right? We're not advancing. This is a great way to start the day. I feel like one of those orange juice commercials. Let's try that. Bob, we're in limbo. We'll give it one more shot. We'll try it that way. I'm getting nothing.
It's not saying good. Slide to slide.
There we go. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Just the arrows.
Yeah, that's what no? Okay. We're back. So what happened was consumers started finding extreme value in these things, right? You started to experience what the reward of engaging in social and local and mobile was about. And in almost direct proportion, marketers started to experience anxiety and frustration, right? There are all these new ways to communicate with consumers. How do we do it best? And I think you wouldn't disagree that, frankly, a lot of marketers came back to that situation and said, well, we better start checking boxes. What's our social strategy? What's our local strategy? What's our mobile strategy? Have we done something on these things? I'm reminded of one CMO who told me about his CEO coming to him and saying, we've got to do something on Twitter. And the brave CMO said, I will get right on that the moment you can tell me what it is you think Twitter does. How many executives just hear the word and they're like, something's going on there, we should be a part of it, without really doing the due diligence of understanding that context and how consumers are behaving in that space. The truth is consumers are very comfortable across all of these and don't silo the activities. So we as marketers need to adapt how we're experiencing this space too. How are we going to talk with consumers in the SoLoMo, one big bucket space? I'll give you an example from my younger and more interesting colleague's weekend. She started off her Sunday by going for a walk in Central Park. It was a walk that was mapped for her by her Nike app. That was the start of her day with her smartphone. During the walk, she was listening to a playlist that was shared with her by a friend on Spotify. Brief plug for both Spotify and my failed career as a singer-songwriter. If you look me up on Spotify, I make like half a cent every time you download one of my songs, so I appreciate your support. On her way back from her walk, she remembered that she needed to plan a trip, so she looked into kayak and she shared that with her husband, saying, how do these flights look? Does that fit with us? She went on Google Plus Local to look for a place to have brunch that morning. And at brunch, planned for the shopping trip she had to do to pick up a toy for her son to take to a birthday party. And she looked that up on Google Maps. She met a woman there at brunch who she connected with on LinkedIn immediately. And when she went home, she took out her tablet to plan her dinner on Epicurious and to buy some movie tickets for that evening on Fandango. Now, this is one person's experience, but I think if you think about your own experiences, this isn't abnormal. This is how people are functioning now, seamlessly moving from screen to screen. And this idea of constant connectivity is what's defining the consumer opportunity now. As consumers, we move between platforms to accomplish different things as we are in different contexts. Generally speaking, our laptop or desktop computer is a productivity device that we are either using for work or for, let's call it, chores, things we want to accomplish. We use our phones to connect to the internet because we're now empowered to take action when we're out and about, and we want to use that leverage. We use our tablets in more leisure settings generally, right? Sitting on the couch, whether reading or taking the input from your television and exploring it on your tablet. Shopping. So these are all these different contexts that have consumers moving across different planes and creating opportunities for marketers. Let's explore the contexts a little bit, starting with the idea of out and about. What has changed when we are out in the world is that now we're able to actually empower the activities we're embarking on, right? We always had the desire for information when we were out, but now because we're constantly connected to the internet, we have the capability to move on that. You've undoubtedly heard, at Google we always talked about the database of intentions, right? Search indicates people's intentions. If I'm looking for information about Rome, odds are good that I am planning a trip to Rome. Right? This is all sensible. What's changed is that if you are outside the home and looking things up on your phone or have a random desire, you can take action on that immediately, whether online or use online to power what you do in the real world. Where can I find this physically around me? What deals can I get? And we know, and the statistics show, that consumers are acting on that behavior. And marketers are too, and in some very smart ways. This is one of my favorite examples. eMart is a major retailer in Korea. And what they found was they had a sales problem in the middle of the day. Sales were dipping. So they created a way to engage people in the real world using that digital lever. And let's take a look at the video.
We're as happy as can be. We're always smiling so that everyone can see. The world looks beautiful to me. The sky is blue, you know it's true, it's so wonderful to be. You and me. We're as happy as can be. We're as happy as can be. We're as happy as can be. Happy as can be. The sky is blue, you know it's wonderful to be.
I think that's brilliant. And the reason it's brilliant, it is a marketer taking the digital world and allowing it to empower the physical world. That's how we need to be thinking now. It's less about platforms and more about contexts. In a more sort of straightforward, maybe even expected approach, Priceline is taking advantage of context. They've found that 82% of the people booking on smartphones are booking for the same day. That, again, implies that immediacy that mobile connectivity allows, right? People are in town and suddenly they say, oh, shoot, I'm going to be here a day more than I expected, or my flight is delayed, or whatever. In fact, they found that about a third of those bookings are for a hotel that is within a mile of the place that the person is standing. It's a great indicator of how immediate that connection is. Anyone here from the Midwest? A few of you. Meijer? You know Meijer, the grocery store? Maybe some people who aren't from the Midwest know Meijer. Really cool grocery store. Great brand. And they do innovative things in-store and in the digital domain. So they now have an app that allows you to, not only when you enter does it give you the latest offers so that you're prepared to be an effective and efficient shopper. That's adding value. But even cooler is they're using hyperlocal to allow you to know where you are in the store and where the items on your shopping list are in the store, and it actually reorders the list depending on where you are in the store to make sure you get to what you need. That's pretty cool. We'll give another hotel example. Starwood has employed hyperlocal advertising, which you can probably just make it out there. There's a little button that allows you to call, but there's also a button that gives you directions and expands that map that you can see on the screen. And what hyperlocal does in telling you exactly how far you are from the location is it drives action. So what they've seen from this is a tripling of traffic, and they've improved ROI 20 times just by this innovation. This isn't 20 times over other platforms, it's 20 times over what they used to be doing on mobile. These are simple ways that they're thinking about context and what the consumer needs under those circumstances. That's what really has to happen. You may have read about a recent launch called Field Trip. Came out in September. It's a terrific app that just alerts you to what's cool around you. It again is adding power to your walking around experience, something that Eric Schmidt called augmented humanity. Right? These devices are making us smarter, more capable than we were before. But out and about is just one context, right? We don't spend our entire lives outside our homes. Some of the time we're at leisure. We are, in fact, in lean-back situations in our homes. So some of the time we're sitting with, say, a tablet, and we're exploring and reading and playing around. What are the ways that advertisers can be creative in this space? Well, this is a really good example from Brazil. We have Bonnie. What's the phrase everybody uses? Surprise and delight, right? Here you're taking a context that a consumer thinks that they know what's going on, and surprise, it's actually about insurance. And they've actually played a role in bringing that to life. One of the things, and I knew I wanted to say this at some point today, and I wasn't sure when I would, but one of the things that we talk about at my company is we're really a platform company. The cool things that happen are when we hand the platform over to you. It is our users and marketers who come up with the cool applications like that one. Now, we didn't invent, the ability to swipe things on a tablet, but the people who didn't come up with that creative execution. That's where it really gets exciting, and that's where the opportunity is. So that was an example of how, basically a magazine experience can come to life on digital in the home. Let's think about the other side of it, right? It isn't just about digital to digital to digital. It is about screens and how we communicate across those or experience the world across those. The two different ways we cross screens are simultaneous usage and sequential usage. We know that 77%, 3/4 of all consumers, are watching television while doing something else on their phone or tablet or computer. So they're actively in that multi-screen experience. We know that 90% use screens sequentially. One of the great things that mobile search does for us is we fill all those dead times in our day, right? The bus is late, and you go, I meant to look up, those tickets, or, the cameraman is laughing. I think he does this. Yes, I got a thumbs up there. It's true, right? We no longer need to be just tapping our toes. It's funny, actually. This just popped into my head, but I remember my high school health teacher telling the class, she said, I don't really smoke, but I smoke when I'm in a bar and I'm waiting to meet a friend because then I'm doing something. Well, now that you're not allowed to smoke anywhere, the thing everybody does the minute there's downtime is they pull out their phone. And maybe they're playing words with friends, and maybe they're checking email, maybe they're searching for something, but they get busy and they get connected. So this, again, is an opportunity for marketers. Let's look at an example from how Chevy upgraded their Super Bowl experience by leveraging that multi-screen opportunity.
Super Bowl is the most watched American television broadcast of the year, drawing over 100 million viewers. With almost 50 advertisers competing for viewers' attention, how do you stand out? We decided to game the system and add another screen. Over 50% of people go to a Super Bowl party for something other than watching the game. The Chevy Game Time app, a live second screen experience, gave them a legit reason to play with their phones for hours. The Game Time app was designed to hijack viewers' attention for the entire game. It gave people a reason to focus on our ads very closely and distracted them from watching our competitors' ads. We started by previewing our Super Bowl spots on the app, letting people know they could win cars from our commercials. On game day, we got people to answer trivia questions about our ads during commercial breaks. Since this could win you a Chevy, entire Super Bowl parties watched our ads very closely, first on TV, then again on the app. To make double sure people would be focused on our ads, we gave each app user a license plate. And if you spotted your plate in our commercials, you won the car. Which of course got app users to watch our ads again and again, all the while racking up our YouTube views. The app extended the game beyond TV by letting people interact with the broadcast in a totally new way. A team of 20 writers and technicians pushed real-time questions and polls to the app, letting players react to what they just saw on TV. And when we asked people to do something, they did, at times drawing 130,000 players to answer a question at the same time, more than double the attendance at the Super Bowl stadium. By the end of the game, we had over 21 million questions answered. The app had over 700,000 users, was the featured app in both iTunes and Android stores, and made it to the top 10 in the iTunes App Store, past Angry Birds and Facebook. Owning the Super Bowl? Now there's an app for that.
So another great example, right? Somebody running with it. And frankly, I'm excited to see what happens at this year's Super Bowl because the gauntlet has been thrown down, right? These guys have proven that there's a way to one-up what's going on the big screen. So they mentioned Facebook in there, and it's another cool component about how we need to think about SoLoMo code, right? Which is social happens anyway as well, right? Prior to digital declaring there was social networking, social was something we just did. And what these multiple screens and omnipresence of digital connection is doing is empowering social to happen in the moment, when frankly it's far more likely to happen. Social is not a destination, it's an activity, it's a part of our being, it's who we are and what we do. So it perhaps is not surprising that 14% of mobile social networkers are uploading photos. The example I gave earlier of instantly connecting with someone on LinkedIn via their phone because they're there in the moment and taking action on it. If anything, it makes it more likely and more profound for people to do these things. As I mentioned before, it is marketers and consumers who come up with the really brilliant executions of these things. So I've unsurprisingly seen this video a number of times, but spoiler alert, I get choked up every time I see this. It's an inspiring, creative idea that one user came up with, executed, and has since been adopted around the world. And it is bringing together social, mobile, and digital in general. Let's take a look.
Freedom for me has always just been going for a walk in the woods, finding the perfect light, and getting the shot. I think I started when I was 12 years old, putting that canoe on my shoulders, carrying it down to the lake, and going for paddle. John Butterell, as a young photographer, his epic canoe trip, 1969. That was a long time ago. One day, I was out taking pictures, and I thought, How cool would it be to attach a phone to your camera and hang out with 5, 10 people, and they would see exactly what I was seeing through the viewfinder of my camera?
It was gorgeous.
It was pretty amazing. And the next day, Corey Fisk came into the hangout.
I love photography, and I have been living with MS 10 years, and this is my world. There's nothing more to my world than
I just said, tomorrow I'll take you for a walk. I'm going to walk closer to that old tree over there.
that. Down a little,
Okay.
a little more, right there. Lovely.
Look up. Look way up.
Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah, macro that one.
Got it. For a few brief minutes, she wasn't going to be in that bed. She was going to experience her own momentary escape. She was on a virtual photo walk, and we didn't even know what one was then, but we were sure doing it. The next day, we posted the video. People saw it and started sharing it, and photographers all over the world jumped on board.
So we're bringing lots of people around and giving them Hawaii view here.
Oh, yes, we have a sea turtle.
Look at this.
Oh my goodness.
We're in beautiful Cape Town with a couple of buffalo.
This is Utah Lake.
I'll be emailing you photos soon.
I never anticipated that so many photographers would give their time and feel so committed. As a photographer, you're in a special place taking pictures, and now people are with you, and for that brief time, you're giving them a little bit of freedom.
I'm just gonna sneak around here.
It's a very rewarding thing.
Can you guys see what I'm seeing at the moment?
That is something.
I think that's just extraordinary. To give you another example that is not mobile, but while we're talking about moving things, I was speaking somewhere early last year, and a gentleman grabbed me after and told me about the Blind Veterans Help Desk. The Blind Veterans Help Desk set up a page on Google+, and they manage Hangouts between deaf veterans. They allow deaf veterans to talk to each other on Hangouts by employing blind veterans to transcribe the conversations. And it's one of those, wow, I should have thought of that kind of moments. Love that. By the way, as moved as I always am by seeing that, I love the moment in which she starts bossing him around. I think that's great. No, over a little to the left, more to the left. I think that's wonderful. But it gives you a sense of the potential. I mean, these are individuals coming up with these ideas, and certainly entire companies of smart marketing people can do the same. Nike, of course, is one of those companies that is smart and comes up with creative ideas, and this is a good example of how things come together, right? How that creativity and inspiration can be plugged into a marketing campaign.
Life's a sport, and Nike Fuel keeps score with a single number that measures how much you move. Nike Fuel turns every drill, every mile, every fast break, every day into a game. So you can compete against yourself, your friends, and the rest of the world. With Nike Fuel, it's a chance to move up the leaderboard, to push yourself and your friends to new high scores, to school your buddy in the morning and let him and everyone else hear about it all day, to make every day an epic day. Nike Fuel measures your movement, so the more you move, the more you earn. And it's all captured by Nike Plus. Life's a sport with Nike Fuel, and the game is changing.
Connecting up, mobile and social and local, all consistent with the brand. This is one of the themes that I talk with marketers about a lot, is you need to think about how do I add value And how do I do it in a way that is consistent and sincere and truthful to my brand? Nike's, locked that down. In the interest of time, I'm actually going to skip the next video, which maybe you've seen. I'll invite you to look it up if you go to the Mobile Playbook, www.themobile.playbook. It looks very cool on tablets especially. You'll be able to watch this Coca-Cola video about something that they're doing or have done this past year. But I'll keep moving if it'll allow me to. Yeah, there we go. Because the maybe most important thing is this isn't just about feeling good. Right? It isn't about the CEO who says, we should do something on Twitter. It's about what are you going to get out of this? And the rewards are real. The problem is many of the rewards are not being accurately captured. A lot of marketers are saying, gee, I'm not seeing the value in my mobile experience. What they're missing is the emphasis. Right? They're emphasizing the value. They're not emphasizing the fact that they're not seeing it. We do not have a conversion problem on mobile. We have an attribution problem. And that was addressed in a very effective fashion by iProspect and Adidas. They had a campaign that was upside down in ROI as measured just by conversions that were happening on the phone. And then they kind of looked at each other and said, I just don't believe that. Because we know there's a lot of activity there. What are we not seeing? What are we not capturing? And using data that iProspect had, because they work with a variety of different clients, they were able to say, you know what? About 1 in 5 people who click on that location button are probably actually going to stores. And if we then overlay what we know to be our in-store conversion rate and our average in-store sale, we're actually making about $3, $3.20 every time somebody clicks on one of these ads. And our ROI isn't upside down, it's about 1.8 to 1. It's about seeing, it's about asking the right questions to say, do I fully understand what's going on? What is the context? So what's next? Some of what's next is already starting to show up in the world. And I'll show you just 2 more brief videos to give you an idea. Google Now is a tool to anticipate your needs. It's no longer
Instead
about
of
what you
having to
want,
sift
what
through
you're
and
going to
organize
want.
all the information you need throughout your day, all that information is ready at the exact moment you actually need it. Introducing Google Now. Now with Android, one simple swipe gives you the information that is relevant to you, right now. As you leave your house, Google Now is smart enough to check current traffic conditions and has prepared an alternate route for your commute. Google Now is always one step ahead, so you can feel more confident as you navigate your day. When you're at a subway station, Google Now can tell you what trains are next, find you interesting local places to eat. Is there a good Japanese noodle bar nearby? And when you're in a restaurant, your phone already has the best dishes listed for you. Google Now automatically keeps you updated on your favorite sports teams in real time, just in case you were curious about that no-hitter. With the predictive power of Now, you get just what you need to know right when you need it.
It comes back to an idea that we also talk about a lot. People are asking about privacy concerns and how mobile fits into that and social fits into that. And the answer is that as we demonstrate as marketers that we are bringing value to consumers because they share information with their device, and as we demonstrate we don't do anything bad to them, they will continue to share more and more. And everyone will benefit. Because marketers will be more effective because they'll talk to the right people with the right message, and consumers will benefit because they'll get value out of the experience. Google Now is a good example of that. It's a tool that the more you share, the more it learns you and is able to anticipate your needs. You've probably read about Google Glass. You may have even seen some video, but this is another example of what happens when you take technology out of the way.
Friends, so for us, it's really important to show them how she's growing, how she's changing. With babies, it's really hard to grab the right moments. A smile just lasts for a few seconds, and that's all. When you use a big camera, she gets really focused on the camera. You know, she smiles at faces, not at devices. Every day we try to go out for a little walk. June really loves being in the stroller. Everything is new for her. So we really like to take funny pictures of her. I think she enjoyed it.
Hey, salut!
Bonjour, mon cœur, how are you?
I'm good, but I miss you guys.
We have these little American glasses that she likes to wear. It's kind of amazing for us French to have this little American girl at home.
Au revoir, Laetitia.
So, I mean, these are goofy-looking, very, Star Trek-y looking things. We have a handful of people in the company wearing them all the time, kind of beta testing them. But it's the promise of where this goes. What happens when it isn't the Star Trek looking thing? It's built right into these, which frankly isn't terribly hard to do. And what happens when it's not just pictures of the baby, but all that Google Now information is now flowing through, and I'm getting updates, and it's all happening seamlessly. Another important theme to remember, particularly in mobile, but in digital in general, is friction. Everything we can do to remove friction from the process makes adoption explode. And so by integrating digital into our lives seamlessly, without any effort, we're going to make it that much easier for more of the world to take advantage of the opportunities that digital presents for it. So summing up, I won't read all these to you, but you can take a picture or memorize really well. It really comes down to three things. It is, are you gathering enough data? Are you pulling everything in that you can to understand? And are you using that information to think in terms of contexts instead of platforms? And on the other end of all of that, are you measuring absolutely everything that you do, everything that you can? Because the more data you have, the more patterns you will start to see emerge, some from unlikely places. We believe that contexts are really what it's all about. And over the coming months, you'll see how we're thinking about bringing this all together, about how to make sure that marketers and consumers are able to move seamlessly between screens. Thanks for sharing your morning with me. I appreciate the time. I didn't know if we're doing questions or if we're just done. I got a 1-minute thing. I didn't know. Any burning questions before I go? I honestly don't know. It's okay with me, but I have to check with my keepers. Yes, sir. Oh.
How have you seen this adopted with publishers? Either magazines, newspapers, local publishers?
Have we seen this adopted with publishers? It's actually a great question, and I fear I'm going to utterly fail to respond well. I'm trying to think of a great publisher example, because I know it's happening. I'm just blanking right now. Yeah. Honestly, I think there's a certain amount of problem with siloed thinking, that folks are defining themselves as one thing and another. I think they'll get there. You can certainly point at the print publishers who are, from the beginning, have adopted the idea that there's more content online, or here's the mobile version. But I haven't seen anybody, fully exploit the opportunity to be a truly multi-device, continuous connection. I think that's the challenge. I am over time, but as I gather up my stuff, if you really wanted to ask me something, you can grab me. And thanks again. Have a great day.